back to our install for the subwoofer. We made our two harnesses. This is what you're going to get in the mail. You're going to get two harnesses like this. This is the male side. It looks like this. This is the male side. This is the female side. You need to remember that. Female means stuff can go in. Male means it goes into stuff. Same thing. Male side looks like this. Come on, focus up. Male side looks like that. Female side looks like this. Okay. Then you are going to either cut or tap. Most of you are going to tap for the subwoofer because you're still going to want the factory sub to work. If you're going to cut, you're legit going to cut the wire like I cut these. Like these used to be a hold wire and you cut. This is when you don't want any more signal going to that speaker. That would be if you're doing a full system. If you're doing subs, you usually want your factory subs to still work. So you're going to tap. The difference between tapping and cutting is tapping means you strip the insulation, so you expose the wire, how you can see that there, or like that. But cutting is legit cutting wire where you strip the copper and it looks like this, completely cut. So we're going to tap. What that's going to look like is, actually before that, we're going to use our line out converter. This is the ASDC2. You don't have to use this one. You can use whichever one you want. This is just what I'm using my example. Very simple, relatively inexpensive line out converter. You can use LC21. You can use a DSP, whatever you want. Whatever line out converter you have is going to have input 1 and 2, or input left and right. That's going to be these wires right here in our case. This purple, this grays, and these whites. The way this is going to work is we're going to take our whites and we're going to connect them to harness A, connector A, which is this. Since we're only doing the sub, we're going to strip the sub wire. In this case, I'm not stripping because it's for a customer, so I'm not going to do it to his harness, but I'm going to wrap it around how if I would have stripped it. So that's going to go there. This is going to go here. That's subwoofer coil 1. It says sub. That's our first sub coil. Then our second sub coil is on connector B, which is these brown wires. So now I'm going to take gray and black. I'm going to wrap the gray black around the brown black and the gray around the brown. And now this is super important. You want to make sure that you keep the color specific to the connector. So you see on connector B, we use the grays, but on connector A, we use the whites. You don't want to crisscross or mismatch that. That's how it should be. One's going to go to each set of connectors. Then we have yellow and black. Well, we have a white, black, and a black. You can run these to your amp. You can run these to the fuse box. You can also just tap these wires and wrap it around these wires. So I'm going to wrap around black, and then I'm going to wrap around yellow. So that will give my line out converter power. That was on connector A. So now our line out converter has a little special circuit that will turn this blue wire on with 12 volts. So this is known as signal sense RTA or RTO something, remote turn on something. Basically, this little blue wire will get power, will turn on your amp. What I found with this piece right here is that it's not always 100% accurate. So your amp will stay on after your radio's off. Your amp will turn on before your radio. So you can or cannot use this depending on your line out converter. You can use the turnout circuit or you don't. That is up to you. I recommend running a fuse tap to the fuse box for fuse 32 or 7. Any fuse that says ACC, or you can meter it. It has to turn on and off with the radio. If you don't want to be bothered, you could just use this blue wire. It will work fine. It won't drain your battery. Eventually your amp will turn off. Just sometimes it doesn't like to turn off right away. So then this is what this would look like. These 3 connections here would run to your amp. These to your aftermarket amp. This would go to your aftermarket amp. You plug your RCAs into here. Here's your remote signal. Traditional install, remote after, and then your RCAs. These plug into your factory amp. This plugs into the first connector of your factory amp. And this plugs into the first connector of your factory amp. This into the second. Those connectors look like this. So here is your amp. Like I said, this is connector, what is this, A, and this is actually connector C in your amp, but you're going to plug both these connectors straight into your amp, and then these are going to connect to the connectors that used to be plugged into your amp. So basically you just made your amp connectors or wires longer, but when you did that, it allowed you to wire tap and add your sub wires to the right ones. And this is how it will work. This is how you would use this harness to add subs to your factory amplifier.